So as me, Nicole, and the guys have been working on the Impala and the Barracuda, Jesse has been over here chipping away at Bill's Bel Air. So we are now ready to cut the trunk floor out of this thing. So he's going to start with cutting along the back section. We're going to basically be removing this in pieces and going to essentially cut it in half and pull it out. So you'll see that here. So after we have the floor cut out, we can go ahead and test fit the rear body mount bushings, put those in, and sit the trunk floor pan in and get a good test fit and see how everything lines up. So now that we have the quarters and the inners and the trunk floor all in place, we can go ahead and put the trunk on and get that fit and see how everything's lining up. And for an initial fit with aftermarket panels, everything is absolutely great. So moving over to the 68 Barracuda, we went ahead and drilled the holes, made sure that everything lined up, and now I can go ahead and spray. So this is the epoxy primer sealer. This color calls for a G6 shade, which is basically just a gray shade primer. So that's what I'm doing. And with a sealer, you want to spray around 30 psi. Same thing with clear coat. You really want to be able to break up that primer to lay it on smooth. So that's what I'm doing. And you want to keep your overlap to they say 50 to 75%, so anywhere in there depending on the overall desired mill build and texture. So I try to spray really as smooth as I can, since we do show quality and show cars basically, so everything needs to be as smooth and flat as possible. So the smoother I get it out of the gun, the easier it is for Nicole to wet sand and polish. So it all starts with really the prep and the sanding, and make sure that that's nice and smooth while not going too fine that you're running the risk of losing the physical adhesion of your scratches. So I do not sand anything finer than 400 if I'm going to be doing a sealer. So I still have a nice scratch to hold that sealer in place and give me my physical adhesion, while also getting the chemical adhesion of the sealer and the cushion coat properties too, because as rocks and other road debris hit, a sealer will make your paint much more durable. So this is the blue. So you always want to do your edges as you go with color. So sealer, it really depends on what you're doing. I'd already did the edges in blue, so I didn't focus my sealer around all my edges, but now that I just kind of let it dust in there. But now that I'm on my blue, I'm going to go back through and smooth and blend in all that color on my edge before, or just as I go. So just keep a nice wet edge as you go. So, and then the overlap on base coat is a little bit less, so I always stick with the 50-50 typically. and pull my gun back just a little bit more. And this is also an orange cap LPH 400, so it really lays the metallics out extremely smoothly. So along with the slow reducer, so you always want to use the slowest reducers you can for any metallic or pearl paint jobs. That really helps lay the metallics out smooth. If they dry on you too quickly, that's where you can really get that mottled and blotchy effect. So it's a fine line between pulling it on there and ending it up having it too blotchy if you're putting it on too thick, while also having it too dry and then end up being sandy looking and then just screwing up all your coats, your texture, and everything. So we're gonna do 1 to 2 more coats after this, giving about 10 minutes between each coat, allowing the base coat to fully dry. But on the very last coat, you'll lay it on normal, same way as this, but then come back over it with a nice dusting coat to make all the pearls and metallics lay very nice and uniform. So that's what we're going to do, and then move on over to clear coat. So that's what I'm doing now. And this is kind of the desired texture and finish that you'll want to see after base coat. And then for my first coat of clear coat, I like to spray right around 30 psi, 30 to 32, really for all my coats. But my very first coat is basically just a tack coat like this, and you're spraying it on basically to get the clear coat to just stick like a glue when you come back through for your next coat. And there's no flash, I give no flash time between these two coats. A couple of minutes maybe, as long as it takes me to do the trunk and then bounce over to the hood. So I'll do both of those and then let that dry and go back to my second coat. And then you're going to be basically laying this the same way as the sealer, maybe slowing down a little bit, allowing it to atomize a little bit more, maybe getting a little closer, but overall it's about the same spray technique as with sealer.
Nobody talks about how lonely it is when you turn 20-something. You can't hide it, you can't fight it. You're just trying to find your own way. You're stuck between making that phone call and not calling them back at all. So you get drunk and send them a text that says, come over, I'm all alone. Was I just born too late? Is it real or is it fake? Can't tell anymore these days, but I'm so lonely. And I wanna meet your mama. Yeah, I ain't trying to see the coast, 'cause it really ain't worth the drama when you turn into a ghost. And I just need you to hold me when I'm feeling cold. I ain't looking for one and only. No, I'm just lonely. Nobody talks about how hard it can be when you're pushing 30 and you get dressed up just to impress them, but they ain't even know where they're ex yet. Feels like all your friends are moving on and you're wondering where you went wrong. Hell, I'm swiping left and swiping right while I'm writing this song. Was I just born too late? Is it real or is it fake? Can't tell anymore these days, but I'm so lonely. And I don't wanna meet your mama. Yeah, I ain't trying to see the coast, 'cause it really ain't worth the drama when you turn into a ghost. And I just need you to hold me when I'm feeling cold. I ain't looking for one and only.
So this is the final result. This is after 3 coats. So I was going to record that last coat, but right when I went to come into the booth, my phone died, and I had no time to wait for my flash window. So I gave Jesse my phone, told him to plug it in and try to beat me out here. And by the time this iPhone turned on, I was done. So this is the final result. As you can see, there's a couple little dust specks in it. That's pretty unavoidable, especially with my booth. But all of that will be wet sanded out completely flat and perfect. And you may also notice a couple waves or wobbles in the hood. It is a fiberglass hood, so it can't be perfect unless you put an extreme amount of time into it, which the customer was not looking for. So we did not do that. So that'll be it for this one. Thank you guys very much for tuning in and watching and staying up to date with our projects and everything we got going on. And we appreciate all the support and comments and everything. You guys are truly awesome. So stay tuned for next week. We'll be getting back into Bill's Bel Air. We should have all the metal work for the most part finished from the posts back. And we should also have this 68 Barracuda painted and the Impala put together, and maybe even Bill's Monte Carlo also finished up. So it'll be a busy week next week, but that's pretty standard. So thank you guys, and have a great weekend.